right? And especially with the rise of social media, it's look at me, look at
Mm-hmm.
all these problems that I have, and we use them to gain attention for ourselves
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying to solve it. We continually create this turmoil because we get views or we get likes or
Yep.
anything like that. But as a result of that, we're never moving forward
Mm-mm.
and solving those issues because we don't want to, because
Yep.
we're finally getting a.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Ability Podcast. I am your host, Nick Earhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. Today's guest is just incredible. I got the opportunity to sit next to him at our 10X Business Coach certification. Got to know him pretty well, and we've stayed in touch ever since. And this guy he inspired me. He has one hell of a story. He's been through a lot, but he continues to push every freaking day, just like I do. So my guest today is Brian Livingston. So Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you like to spend your time.
Well, first of all, Nick, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm honored that you're having me on as a guest. You are an absolute rock star. It's funny you say I inspire you, because you inspire me every single day. The effort that you put forth, your work ethic is it's inspiring. So thank you for even allowing me to be a part of this. How do I like to spend my days? I like to spend my days helping other people. That's I have my own businesses, and, I've grown those just by providing service. So it's finding out what is the best way that I can help out the client. It's not me telling them what their problem is. It's them telling me what their problem is, and then together finding a solution.
Exactly. And, that's what coaching is all about. Helping others find the solutions to the problems. And that's why I became a coach, because I realized, okay, I have to solve a lot of problems on my own every day, because I live with cerebral palsy, so every day there's different problems that I gotta solve. And then on top of it, I realized that I was basically coaching my friends and family for free my whole entire life. I was always the guy that they called when they had a problem. So I was like, hey, I guess I'm already good at it, so let's go.
Yeah, no, and you are, dude. You are naturally gifted at being able to find solutions for other people. It's astounding, but you definitely have a gift, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, as far as your business, what do you do?
Well, I do a couple of different things, but in terms of the coaching, I guess we can talk about.
Yeah.
I work primarily with people who need to make a major pivot in their life. Myself personally, I'm a former police officer, first responder, and I hit what I call that point where I just mentally I could not go back to work anymore. I got to the point that the only solution to me that really made any sense was taking my own life. At that point, one of the people that my dad had told me when I first became a cop, he said, pick two people that really have their life together and make them your role model, make them your mentor. right? Which we know is so important to have. And
Oh, yeah.
the first guy, he went on and eventually became chief of police, and he was just an amazing individual. The second guy, literally 1 year into my policing career, he took his own life in our change room. And that just threw me. I wasn't even there that day. I wasn't on shift that day. But him and I had lockers across from each other. They literally had to cut out the carpet to get rid of all the blood. And so there was this constant reminder in the locker room of what this guy had done. And I got to the point that I fully understood why he had made that decision. And fortunately, I decided that my wife was more important, my kids were more important. But as a result of that, I had to get out. And so I had to make a major pivot. I had to go into business for myself because nobody was going to touch me with a 10-foot pole, especially, 23 years ago. Admitting that you have mental health issues was, in terms of everybody's eyes, a sign of weakness, right? You couldn't be trusted. And so I had to just start my own business, right? That's what I had to do. And so I work with people now because whether it's a mental health issue or it's just life suddenly punched them in the gut and they've got to make a change. I work with them to help them through it because I had no mentor. I had nobody to help jump me through those hoops. And the biggest mistake that I made was not being more proactive in terms of trying to find someone to help me. I thought I was, I'm smart, I'm young, I can do all this. And so I struggled for so long because I didn't have anybody to help me along the way, and I wasn't willing to ask for that help. So it was a huge mistake I made on my part.
Yeah, and, a lot of us struggle to ask for help. And that's one thing that, I teach my clients is it's okay to ask for help. Don't abuse it, but if you need help, get help. No matter what it is. If you need mental health help, definitely go get it. If you need help, doing your laundry or something like that, just ask for help. But if you can do something, make sure you do it. Don't be lazy.
I completely agree. There's a difference between asking for help because you require it, and asking for help just because you don't want to do it.
Exactly.
And the easiest way to continually fail is placing your responsibilities on everybody else, because
100.
You don't grow.
No, you don't. You gotta take responsibility for yourself. And, like I like to say, nothing happens to me. It happens because of me. And I've heard Grant Cardone talk about that. A lot of people talk about that. It's like, don't play victim. Just own it, accept it, work through it, and get going, Yep.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think it's become too acceptable to wallow in our problems. Right. And especially with the rise of social media, it's look at me. Look at all these problems that I have, and we use them to gain attention for ourselves. Instead of trying to solve it, we continually create this turmoil because we get views or we get likes or
Yep.
anything like that. But as a result of that, we're never moving forward and solving those issues because we don't want to, because
Yep.
we're finally getting attention.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And look, I post a lot on all social media, and yeah, I talk about my problems, but I always do it in a way where it's like, okay, what did I do to solve it? So
Exactly.
then other people can look at it and go, okay, if he did that, what can I do to solve my own issues?
Well, and you're such a great example of it, Nick. Honestly, you really are, and I love watching your videos, because you've had a lot of struggles, and you do have a lot of struggles,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't sit there and go, so somebody else come and do this for me.
Yeah.
Somebody else come and push me, or do
Mm-hmm.
you're like, yeah, you know what, it may take me a little longer to walk there,
Mm-hmm.
but dang it, I'm walking,
Yep.
like I watch you with the way that you interact with technology,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I remember sitting with you, and I was just like, holy crow, man. Like,
Yep.
you could so easily have sat back and gone, I need somebody to do all this for me. And
Yep.
instead you said, how do I make it so that I can do this for myself? And and
Exactly.
and you're such a phenomenal example of that, and it really makes people open their eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because as you know, without getting into great detail, we know that I have my own health issues,
Yep.
and but and I could very easily get caught in the, oh, woe is me,
Mm-hmm.
attitude. But instead, I take it and I look and I go, damn it, I'm having a bad morning. But I'm like, look at Nick. Nick is absolutely out there rocking it every single day. And he's taken his struggles and turned them into strengths,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and it's just, I can't say enough how much you motivate me, as you know, and I've told you, and I'll show you again, brother. There it is.
You've got my wristband on every day.
It never comes off, brother. It's the only one I wear because
Yeah.
you're always there as an inspiration.
Well, thank you. And that's why I made those little wristbands. It's like, okay, if you're not seeing me on your phone, you're gonna see me on your wrist, and it's like,
Yep.
because I know, I've come to realize over the last year how much of an inspiration I actually am, and I'm leaning on that, let's say, because I know that I can help a lot of people. So I just continue doing what I do to inspire more people to get out there and create the lives that they want. So if I got to hand out, a million little wristbands, I'll do it. The wristbands are always going to be something that I just give away because it's my little token.
Yeah. Well, I've got Grant Cardone wristbands. I've got
Mm-hmm.
Live Strong and all those other ones. I got wristbands all over my house.
Yep.
But the one that I wear is the one that motivates me.
That's
So
awesome.
that
Thank
that
you.
just lets you know where I place you when I'm not wearing any Grant Cardone wristbands.
Thank you. That really means a lot. And it's cool because, I look at so I wear mine on my
Yep.
right hand, and the green one, it's worn out, but it used to say why waste removal. That was the company that my dad started, and we had it for 10 years, and then he passed away. And I've been wearing not the same wristband. I have a lot of them from, when we had the company, but the one that I was wearing when he passed away is on his urn in my living room.
Gotcha.
I keep that one there, but I always have it on because it's like, what would my dad do right now? My dad was always my inspiration. He was always my go-to guy for any problem that I had. And now it's like I carry him around wherever I go because, just like you do for mine. You look at it and it's like, all right, what do I have to do now?
Yeah.
So that's really awesome.
Yeah, well, and that's really great that you've got that reminder with them. And it's great that you had such a great relationship with them, and you had such a positive father figure. That you're very fortunate because a lot of people don't get to have that. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, me and my dad were best friends. He taught me a lot. Everything I know about motors and cars and all of that, he taught me all of that. We were always in the shop working on things. And then, I'm a heavy equipment operator.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that. And I learned everything from him. Well, I can't really say he taught me how to operate equipment. It was more like, here you go, get in and figure it out. And that's how I learned everything. That's what he did. Like, when I learned how to drive a manual, it was on the farm. He had an old pickup, and he was like, take it, drive around, figure it out. Okay. And then we got the skid loader. And again, he said, get in it, figure it out, don't hit nothing. And then we got a loader and the crane and a boom lift, a backhoe, everything. I just kind of got in it and started pushing buttons and pulling levers and figuring out what everything did.
That's awesome, dude. That's too funny, but it shows you the confidence and that he had in your abilities too.
Exactly.
Which is great, and a lot of parents don't do that with their children. They don't give them that belief in themselves that they can do more than their own mental limitations may give them. They hold their kids back in a lot of ways by placing limiting beliefs on them.
Yep, and that's why my ideal client for coaching is parents, especially parents who have children with special needs, or I like to say special abilities. But it's because I know how important it is to have parents like I did, who didn't look at my disability as a negative thing. It was just something I had. It was a part of me, but they had a more positive mindset around it. And they had the confidence in me to overcome any challenge. And if I can help parents do the same thing for their kids, I'm good. That's what I want to do. That's what brings me joy, is to help other parents and kids.
No, and that's wonderful. And I think, more parents just need to find out about you, right? Mm-hmm. Because the parents in a lot of cases have this, I've got to protect my child because they were born with these different these different abilities, right? Mm-hmm. I need to protect them from the world because the world is going to punish them. And so I need to place them in this plastic bubble so that they can't get hurt. But as a result of placing them in that bubble, they can't grow beyond.
Nope.
that bubble, and I don't think it's necessarily in a lot of cases out of intent to harm or hold them
No.
back, but it's great that you're out there working with those parents, going, hey, we need to let them grow, not contract.
Exactly. And the clients that I currently have disabilities themselves. I seem to attract people similar to me, which is awesome, and I love helping them because I change their lives. Like they're always thanking me like I would have never looked at the world this way without you, and that's why I do what I do. It's like
And you've done that for me too. Like
yeah.
you know that you've helped me already on my health journey, and some things that I've got to get corrected in my health.
Yep.
So really, people just need to open their eyes and go, you know what, this Nick guy that I'm seeing all over social media is incredible. Like
Well, thank you.
they should be literally begging for you to let them be coached by you, because you and you did it for me just because we're friends, and I'm very fortunate in the direction that you're taking me.
Yeah. Well, and I help everybody I can, and I don't care if I make money. I just want to help people. That's what brings me joy, is helping others. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to be a coach for free, but because, like, one thing about coaching, and I know this because I just have a free client.
Yep.
If you're free, you don't have any skin in the game, and you don't take it seriously. And that's one major thing, is like you have to commit something in order to be coachable. You may say you're coachable, but if you've got nothing to lose, well, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to put in the work. You're not going to put in the effort. You're not going to take my advice. It's just not going to happen.
Yep. Oh,
so,
yeah. No, I had one guy that I worked with. I actually helped create their entire sales process. But he literally said, if you offer something for free, it means that it has no value.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
And so when you're offering something of tremendous value, then people recognize that there is a value to this. And I completely agree. Like, I started off with a couple guys that I just said, hey, you know what? I want to come in. I want to help you because I know I can. And I want to use you guys as test cases. So, and they did probably about 5% of what I needed them to do,
Yep.
and I'm like, you know what? You have no skin in this game, so you don't care enough. So,
Yep.
yeah, we want it to hurt a bit. We want you to go, okay, how am I going to make this money back that I've put out? And it's got to be enough that it's painful to them, because it's going to make them work harder. And my goal, as you can see in your top corner there, Nick, the 10X, my goal with any business that I work with, I want them at a minimum to make 10 times what they're paying me.
Yep. Exactly.
And if they're not doing that, I feel like I haven't created enough value. I have no doubt that I'm going to do that for them. Right?
That's awesome. And that's a very important target for you to have as a coach, because it's your drive to help them.
Yeah, no, there's, I want them to grow, right? And if you look at it from, a selfish aspect, when people say, well, what's in it for you? You're getting paid. I don't look at it, and the what's in it for me is not necessarily what they're paying me. It's the testimonial at the end of all of it, right?
Yep.
To be able to say, these guys, we paid Brian $50,000, for example, but we made 500,000 extra as a result of that. That's the testimony. That's what I want, so that other businesses can go, that's insane, right? And so we can then, from a selfish aspect, okay, great. That has more businesses coming into me. But the other side of it is, we're then also helping more people, right?
Yep.
The more positive testimonials we get of people whose life we're changing, the more people see us. And as a result, the more people we can help.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it all is based out of the ability to help first.
Yep.
What can I do to help you? But what I've come to realize is the people that want it for free are the people who will put in the least amount of effort, but then point the finger at you and then say, well, it's not working.
Yep. And it's because they just don't put in the effort.
Yep.
And, on the topic of, what we get paid, one of my coaches, I put it this way. It's like, okay, you're paying me to be your coach. You're paying me X amount. Yep. That money just goes through me and it's gone again.
Yep.
But what I give you in return changes your life, and you have that for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So when you give me money, that's not changing my life, but my service is changing yours. And that's what's just so valuable about coaching.
Oh, completely. And it's funny because people ask me, well, how much money have you spent on Grant Cardone? Right?
I get that a lot too.
And my response is not nearly enough.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm going to be like, I have seen such an insane amount of growth. If you just want to look at it in terms of finance, I literally have made 10 times what I paid to Grant.
Yep.
And Grant allowed us, like my daughter last year, graduated her master's from Hawaii. Well, I live in Grand Prairie, Alberta. Like, I am nowhere near Hawaii. It's a multiple flight, to get there. And we were going to send out my wife to be there for the graduation because that's all that we could afford to get her there. And honestly, we couldn't even afford that. And, 3 weeks into, me shelling out a whole bunch of money to Grant, we had an entire trip to Hawaii for the entire family, staying at a nice hotel, went sightseeing everywhere. And that was all because of Grant. I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. So, and I'm still continuing to invest, right? My next step is going to be the 10X 360, right?
Hell yeah.
And, people look at that and they go, well, how much is that? And what is it? I think it's like $100K or something like that, right? And I look at that and I go, yeah, so, I'm continually, in the day and age, I because Facebook targets you with, related content, I
Yep.
see stuff all the time about I'm a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a coach.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's a coach now. Nobody actually does business where they're actually in the trenches. They just coach, right? And I look at that and I go, okay, well, what's the qualifications that you actually got to be a coach? Because I'm studying every day.
Yep.
Like,
Same.
I'm sure you're in Cardone U.
Every morning.
Yep. You know, it's just part of our daily schedule now. We get in, we do some lessons, we grow, you know, and the next step in my growth is going to Brandon Dawson at, you know, Cardone Ventures doing the 10X 360. And I think that's the big difference with you and myself with the coaching is we're spending more time each week on continuous growth so that we can continue to become better coaches versus the person who, like I saw one become a life coach for $19. And it was, you know, here's a book, read it. You've now been certified by Joe as a life coach. And I just, it's like one of the other businesses I own is we represent people in court for traffic tickets, right? And there's all these people that look at that and they go, oh, well, look, he's making money doing it, so I can do it. Right? And so they just come in, they lie to people about their qualifications, they BS them. And I've been doing it now for 21 years. And I've seen so many of these fly-by-night people come in who are, you know, court representatives for people, and they have no idea what they're doing. But yet they're willing to take people's money. You know? And to me, it's just, it's disgusting. And I'm starting to see the coaching business is going that same way. Is people taking money from others when they really don't know what they're doing. And they need to be careful. They need to go, okay, well, how are you certified? You know, who certified you? What are their qualifications? You know, with us, we're able to say, well, look up Grant Cardone, right? You know, and then they go, oh, gotcha. You know, for those that don't know, like up in Canada, Grant's not nearly as well known as he is down in the States, right? I was wearing my 10X hat, and when we went to Hawaii, and the guy who was, you know, due to my health issues, I needed to be in a cart being driven to the next departure gate. And the guy was like, oh, 10X, Grant Cardone, the guy that was driving me. And then one of the Uber drivers, he's like, I love Grant Cardone.
That's awesome.
And but up in Canada, people are like, who? You know? So and it's just like, yeah, check out the guy who went from zero to a $5.5 million business, you know, in 90 days.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you got if you guys have not watched Undercover Billionaire Season 2, glance on there and you will be shocked at what he does in 90 days with nothing. It's incredible.
It's so funny because that's how I found Grant, right? Because I've read, Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, Bob Proctor, Og Mandino, list goes on. I've read all of that stuff. And so obviously, I'd see, Grant Cardone. He's just like that, right? He's just, and then I heard there's this guy that created a $1 million business in 90 days from nothing. And so I actually found Lewis Curtis before I actually found Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
And so it turns out, right, Lewis Curtis was, as we know, Grant's alter ego
Yeah.
for Undercover Billionaire. And I was like, okay, this Grant Cardone guy's legit. Like
Yeah.
he's not standing outside going, this is how you should do it. He
Mm-hmm.
literally said, watch me do
Yep.
it. Not as a
Yep.
coach, but watch me get into the trenches
Mm-hmm.
and scrap and fight. And
Yep.
this is how you should do it. And I
Yep.
know you're in the trenches every day, brother, fighting.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm up at, between 3:30 and 4:30 a.m. every morning, and my calls don't end until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. That's just what I do. I'm on a mission, and I'm not stopping. And I can't even say it. I'm not stopping until I hit my goals, because my goals are going to change, and I'm never going to hit my goals, because I'm just going to keep making them bigger and bigger and bigger, so that I have something to strive for every freaking day.
Yeah. It was, I remember my first goal was I was watching Jared Grant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grant.
I love.
Sorry?
Yeah. I love Jared.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's Grant's right-hand man, right?
Yep.
And the first live events I ever watched, Jared literally got up and he said, if you're not making $40,000 a month, you're doing a disservice to your family and to your community.
Yep.
And I was just like, ouch, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, right? Because I'm 53 now. I know I look older with my beard and everything, but I was just to have this in my eyes, this youngster, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got this youngster saying to me, you are not serving your family properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, you little jerk, like, but I was like, wow, like that mindset shift, just right there. I'm like, here's this, in my eyes, this kid, right, telling me that this is the type of money you were making. So that was my first goal, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, I got to get to 40K. And bang, did it, right? So, but now the next goal is, okay, forget 40K. Now it's 400K in a month. You know what I mean? Like let's take that goal and let's 10X it. And now I've got to, I've reverse engineered it to do it. But it was funny. I was on a call last night in relation to our podcast stuff, right?
Yep.
And the guy I was with last night, he says, you've got to see Nick's calendar, man. He said, Nick's calendar is absolutely insane. He's working a full-time job, and he's booking 10 to 12 appointments at least every single day with people. The guy just goes and goes and goes. And, so when people are like, I don't have the time.
Make the time.
Right. And you are the prime example of that. Because
I was one of those. I was like, I don't have time to do a podcast. I don't have time to do this. And then it's just like, okay, I got to make time. And I did. I opened up my calendar to the world to schedule calls with me whenever they want. And if I have something on the calendar, I get it done. And then that's another thing. Put everything on your calendar, on your schedule, whatever you do, put it on there. Because for me now, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. That's just how it is. So, like, if I want to take time off to spend time with family, I got to mark it on my calendar a couple of days ahead of time So I know that nobody's going to book a call or something during that time, but I love it because, like, before, growing a business is hard. I just got started. It's difficult. And if you have white space on the calendar, and we say white space as in you don't have any tasks during, a few hours or whatever. If you have white space, you're going to waste that time. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I should do. So I wouldn't get anything done. But now I'm filling up my calendar. So every morning, what I do is I look at my calendar. If there's any gaps, like say I got an opening between 2 and 3, I go, okay, what can I do? Okay, I can send emails to, my clients. I can do this. Like, I put it on my calendar because then I stay busy and I'm productive all day. And there's a difference between busy and productive. Yeah. You can all be busy, but are you actually getting stuff done that you should get done?
It's funny that you brought that up because I was, I'm going to be doing a social media post about it because I've been thinking about the same thing. I'm a former basketball player, and my basketball coach always said, everything that you do with purpose, right? And so he's like, if you're going to dribble the ball with purpose. You're driving to the hoop. You're dribbling to get a better angle for a pass or whatever, but don't just dribble to dribble. Yeah. Right. And so it always that's always stuck with me. And I've taken that and I've applied it to business. Right. I was reading this article the other day and this guy was just like, you need to take action. And I'm like, I agree, but you need to define what that action's going to be. Because everybody's watched a basketball game where there's this guy that's an amazing dribbler. And he just dribbles, and he goes all over the court. But the end result of it is he never got anywhere. There was no purpose behind what he was trying to do. It was amazing to watch, but it wasn't helpful to get towards the goal of scoring, and winning the basketball game. So you're completely right, in terms of, the schedule. I sent my updated schedule to my wife and kids last night. And my kid got back to me. One of them got back and she goes, "Wow, you've got a lot booked." And it was funny because I was embarrassed because I still had too much white space that you're talking about, right? And so there's my daughter going, "Holy crow, you're busy." But in my mind, I'm like, I'm not doing enough. Yep. So obviously, I'm not doing a good enough job with convincing my daughter how to 10x her life yet.
It's hard with your family. Yep. My family doesn't understand it either, and it's like, I would try to talk to them about it and all that, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna show you, just sit back and watch. You'll see. Yeah.
So my dad's always like, "Oh, Brian, you're working too hard," and I'm like, "I'm not working hard enough, Dad." It's just I got white space in my calendar. That means I did something wrong today.
Exactly. I mean?
And I can fill it, but I want those days where I look at my calendar and I go, I'm busy from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., type thing. And it's
Yep.
funny when people say, well, what hours do you work? And my response is, what hours do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Same. Yep.
To record on podcasts and stuff, I've been up at 2:00, 3:00 in the morning to,
Yep.
have the opportunity to be on someone's podcast, in Germany, in Monte Carlo, in Australia, and,
Yep.
and the greatest example of that, I have a good friend named Anthony, and, I met him through one of my businesses. He became one of my clients, and we became friends. And, the guy's got the huge house. The guy's got the Ferrari F430s,
Ooh.
2 Porsches in the garage, a old Dodge Challenger he's working on, right? And I'm 1 day older than him, right? And I was just like, how did you do it? And he said, because I always made myself available.
Mm-hmm.
He said,
Yep.
if I heard my phone ringing in the middle of the night, he said, I was running to answer that call and to be of service
Yep.
to whoever it was that needed me at that moment.
Yep.
And
I'm the same way, and I get that from my dad. When we had the business, the calls after hours got forwarded to his cell phone.
Yep.
And if it rang in the middle of the night, he would wake up and take the call. My mom would just get frustrated.
Yep.
She didn't like it at all, but he was just like, nope. Like, his customer service skills were so good. He was just phenomenal at providing the best service he could. And that's what I do now.
Well, and you're exactly right. It's service, right?
Mm-hmm.
As Grant says, service comes before the sale itself,
Yep.
right? And when people see, and if you set that example, for your clients, when they see and they go, holy crow, look at everything that Nick does during the day, then that sets the example of how they need to be doing their business. And,
Yep.
the biggest people, the biggest word of caution I can give is those friends and those family members that say, you're working too hard. You need to balance. Well, I love working. Like,
Me too.
I love talking with people. I love helping them. I love seeing their success. So to me, they're like, oh, you need to relax. Well, if I have the choice between working with a client or watching some Netflix, I'm going to take working with the client every single time. I answer my phone on holidays. I answer my phone in the evening and during the night. And my wife is the same way as your mom was. I'm taking a call. My wife's sleeping beside me, and I'm literally under the blanket, right, trying to muffle it a bit while I'm talking to a client, right? Or like, hey, can we set up a Zoom? And off I go to the office, and because obviously, as you can tell, I'm at home.
Yep.
So, and that's the great thing now about businesses. So many people can run their business from home, and they don't even realize that, right?
Yep. Exactly. So, I got a question for you. So, my slogan, which is also on your wrist right now, your abilities are infinite.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
It means to me that you haven't even tapped in to what you're capable of. And whatever you think you're capable of, you're capable of an infinite amount more than you even think you are. And
Amen.
Yeah, and you are such a beautiful example of that, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on LinkedIn. My website is mymentoring.guru. They can set up a free call from there. It's always a free call first, because we've got to see whether or not we're a fit, because they might not fit with me. They might fit with you better. Once again, it's all about service, right? We've got to help the client out the best way that they can.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. Reach out. Let's have a call. I can tell you every single time I do a free call with someone, they walk away with actionable ideas that they're immediately going to be able to apply to their business to increase their revenue. It's not just like I'm going to give you some nebulous, non-defined BS. It's let's get down to the brass tacks and let's get you making more money. Let's get your life better.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, awesome. And I'll put your links in the show notes so everybody can just look below and find everything. All right, Brian, it was really, really incredible having you on. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick to Your Heart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.